Things move in cycles, in patterns, in ways that repeat. Sometimes these cycles last 250 years. Sometimes they last thousands. But there will always be signs when things are returning to a way that it was before. I have the firm belief as a witch, as a psychic, as a medium, that everything is all connected. You can see this play out in so many ways in the repeating shapes, from small microorganisms to large stars and the universe. Those shapes that repeat, the colors and the patterns that repeat over and over and over again. A way that I am really seeing this show up now is in specifically the plants and the animals that have been recently been rediscovered, are coming back into existence. Things that have, like plants and animals that have not been around in thousands of years, I mean going back to the Ice Age, are suddenly now reappearing. And thousands of years ago, the history can be kind of convoluted of what we are told. We are told that these people who existed 10,000 years ago were, very behind as to where we are in our technology, that they didn't have things like infrastructure, which I do not believe is true. There are a lot of theories around this, and I do know that other people can talk more on that than I can. But I do believe that thousands of years ago, there was a better understanding of the natural energetics of the universe, of the world, of the things people learned in the mystery schools, in a more deeper connection, great grandmother, a deeper connection with nature and what we all innately carry within us. And as I see more and more of these signs, if you will, coming up, more of these animals suddenly reappearing, like dragons. There's been a lot more understanding of dragons coming up. There have been a lot of ancient plants suddenly emerging out of nowhere. There have also been a lot more people coming into their knowing, a lot more people coming into their awakening of what it is they are being called for. And that can be really intimidating and scary, because these days we live in a pre-apocalyptic world, it feels like, with everything that is going on globally, politically in many countries, spiritually for a lot of people. A lot of people are feeling this calling to show up in ways that they have denied, to start speaking loudly and publicly, or quietly, but in places where their word carries great impact, about what their gifts are, what they see, what they know. And this has been something that I've been called to do for quite a while, and yet I still, in a way, struggle with it. I am coming into a better understanding. I am coming into a better relationship. I have healed so many throat blocks in the past year just to be able to come and talk and share videos, whether it is about my spiritual craft or whether it is about my art or anything else. The way we have all been conditioned and programmed to believe that there is only one right way, that there is only one solution, that anything woo-woo is just, well, woo-woo, it's crazy, it's, not real. Yet we see the overlaps between the discoveries in science now confirming the thing spiritual practitioners and witches have known for thousands of years, a lot of us innately. And yet those scientific revelations, those scientific studies still get dismissed. The things that we learn are not new. Things like sound healing, helping to cure cancer, or just to bring balance and regulation, the connecting with the internal, bringing that regulation to us, affecting those around us. One thing that I truly love is the studies that come out that talk about how just a small percentage of a population or an area, or a small amount of people globally focusing their intention on one thing, meditating for 1 moment, 2 minutes at the exact same time, can cause a huge impact and ripple effect. If it was fake, if witchcraft was not real, this would not exist. There is one story, I don't remember the exact details, that I had heard about, where I think it was somewhere in Europe. And if you know, I would absolutely love like an article posted below. I'll try and find one after I record this video. But it was like a meditation retreat that happened over the span of a weekend. And during that time, and rippling outwards after, the crime rates dropped significantly because there was a heavy concentration of people focusing on calming themselves. We don't change the world just by acting externally. We change the world by changing ourselves internally, by coming into better alignment, by removing the conditioning we have all been told is pretty much the only way to exist. The conditioning that the only way to be successful is to go to school, go to college, get thousands of dollars in debt, go get a stable 9-to-5 job, get married, have 2.2 kids or 2.4 kids or whatever it is, and buy a house. And that doesn't work. That doesn't work anymore. It never really worked. It's sort of worked, but by a way of control, because it left us so exhausted that we could not understand what was going on within ourselves. It left us so numb that we could not see what was going on outside of us. And when we decide that is not what we want, when we choose to go for something different, something that feels more aligned, we are told by those in the system that that is crazy, that it will not work. And to a degree, it really is brainwashing. More and more people are coming and stepping away from this. And I think that is huge. But that underlying doubt can still creep in. It is something that I've struggled with my whole life, knowing that I do not fit into that box, knowing that working a traditional job does not work for me, does not work for my brain, does not work for my energetics, literally drains me to the point of mental breakdown within 6 months every single time. Yet that is the only way to do things. I renounce that. More and more people are renouncing that. I would rather spend my time in nature, spend my time speaking my truth, speaking what wants to come out, creating, whether it be art, whether it be food, living a life of balance and peace, connecting to myself to bring forth what it is that needs to come through. And part of that comes down to practice. You have to practice doing these things to an extent, because in a lot of cases, it doesn't feel safe. It doesn't feel safe in the body. It doesn't feel safe in the brain. It doesn't feel safe in the energy. But it's because we have been conditioned to believe that. We have been told over and over and over and over again that our dreams are not valid, that what we want is not okay, that it has to be this way and there is no other choice. And when we choose to let that go, it can be scary. because it can throw our nervous system into such dysregulation. The voices, both of the past and of the present, telling us that that will not work out. You know, a stigma that is a really good case in point is being told as a young child that, oh, like you can like art, but you need to still go to school and have a backup plan because that's not realistic. You can't actually make a living being an artist, or you can't actually make a living being a singer, which is what I really wanted to do when I was 5, until it got to the point where I'd just been told so many times that I was not a good singer. So I let go of that dream. I wrote it off as completely insane. And it is something I am coming back to. Same as my art, same as my writing. They are all things I am coming back to because I know my purpose is to share my voice, is to share my creation, is to speak my truth and be in a state of constant creation. And that, I think, is the case for a lot of us. The more we come back to that, the more we sit with that, the more we work towards that while renouncing the things that do not work, the jobs that they tell us we must have in order to be successful, the easier it will be to continue to do that. If you have a dream, if you have a goal, if you have a wish or a desire, or this knowing that what you are doing is not meant for you, trust that. You know yourself best. And connecting back to that voice, connecting back to your intuition and your higher self, and this innate knowing that you do have. I believe it. The more you do that, the more you practice, the more you understand what is actually you and what has been put on you, the easier it is to break away. The cycles will repeat over and over until you have gotten to the point where you can remove yourself from them. It might not be easy work, but it is important work. It's time. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing day.